Nvidia just reported earnings and their stock is dropping after hours. Here are 4 things you need to know before you panic sell the stock. First up is that Nvidia actually beat earnings on both top line and bottom line. That means the company's revenues and profits both beat Wall Street estimates. Nvidia's Q2 revenues were up 56% year over year to over $46 billion, and their profits were up 59% to over $25 billion. But there was one number that really stood out. And that brings me to point number 2. Nvidia's data center revenue missed estimates for the first time since the launch of ChatGPT. Nvidia's data center division includes all their AI chips, and that did $41.1 billion in Q2, which slightly missed estimates of $41.3 billion. So it barely missed, but it could be a sign that the AI boom might have peaked. Which brings me to point number 3. Nvidia's projections for this quarter were kind of underwhelming. Nvidia expects revenues in Q3 to come in at $54 billion, which is somewhat in line with estimates, but there were some analysts on Wall Street that were expecting revenues to hit up to $60 billion in Q3. The thing is, Nvidia typically crushes it when it comes to their guidance numbers. Are companies starting to cut back on AI spending, or is it something else? Which brings me to point number 4. Nvidia didn't make any money from China in Q2. The company said they missed out on over $8 billion in revenue because of Trump banning the export of the H20 chips to China. Now, the Trump administration has backtracked on that in exchange for 15% of the revenue, but now the Chinese government is stopping the sale of these H20 chips because of security concerns. Overall, I think this was a pretty decent report, but for the first time in a long time, Nvidia didn't just crush earnings, which is why the stock is down 3%. Now, the company did try to hype things up on the earnings call. They point to the fact that big tech companies are expected to spend $600 billion on AI capex, and a lot of that money is going to be going towards buying Nvidia chips. Nvidia said they could also make up to $2 to $5 billion from selling H20 chips to China if the geopolitical drama gets figured out. And they've also booked $20 billion in revenue from selling their AI chips to sovereign governments, which I'm assuming a lot of that's just Middle Eastern countries. Plus, they're also pushing into robotics and self-driving cars, so it's not like this is the end of the growth story. But the problem is that Nvidia's valuation is $4.4 trillion. So in order to justify that valuation, they had to deliver an A+ earnings report, and this earnings report was more of like a A-. So I don't think that we're cooked just yet, but if Nvidia misses earnings again next quarter, well, then we might have a problem.